Hello, it is Keegan here, and today I am bringing you BBR Season number 7, Week 1. Super excited for today's battle. We're playing against Champion Braden. He has been really getting into the Wi-Fi scene when it comes to draft leagues. He's in UNPL this season. He was in BBR Summer Scramble, quote-unquote Summer Scramble this fall. So he's been really getting into it. I'm super excited to see him come over. He's been a good force on the TikTok side of things, doing a lot of good Wi-Fi content there. So it's good to see more people get into Wi-Fi Draft League. I've just come over. This is my 3rd season in a row of Wi-Fi Draft League. So super excited to see more people come over. As I said, this BBR season is going to be super exciting. We made the quarterfinals last time out, which is my first ever Gen 9 Draft League. And hopefully we're looking to go a little bit farther this time. GBU, we'll forget about that one. That was a little bit tough, but hopefully we've got the team I think we can do it with this time. And hopefully we make the playoffs and do more than make the playoffs, make it all the way to the finals and hopefully win it as well. If you're excited for this week's video and excited for the BBR in general, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers this year. We just hit 400 this week. Super excited about that. This year has been doing so great when it comes to the YouTube stuff. The VGC League has been super fun. We've got a win in that week 1, and BBR is going to be super awesome as well. So make sure to subscribe for a lot of cool content coming this year. So let's get right into the matchup. There's a few things to consider here as the team goes on screen. We got Keldeo, Ogrepon, Hearthflame, Glamora, Mandibuzz, Archaludon, Hatterene, Raikou, Mamoswine, Yamega the Cantera as a bug type or a fire type, Dusknoir, and Lurantis. A few things I want to look at here is that Raging Bolt has a really good matchup once the Mamoswine has been removed. Once that Mamoswine has been removed and there's chip around the entire team, Raging Bolt's going to be able to do a lot of good work cleaning as a late game win condition. So that's what our team is going to be focused on this week, is building to the point where we can win with Raging Bolt. One of the things that's also nice in this matchup, and one thing I like about Meowscarada, is having the fastest Pokemon in the matchup usually allows you to dictate the speed on your terms. So that allows me to basically kind of discern what the common Scarfers are going to be in this matchup to get around Meowscarada. In this matchup, I really think something like the Ogrepon probably ends up being the most likely Scarfer. The reason I say that is because the grass coverage is still pretty free into my team, despite having the Skeletorch as a common switch in. He can just set up rocks, and if I don't have heavy duty boots, that takes a lot of damage even with grass coverage. And then that puts me in a position where I have to start predicting around Ivy Cudgels and Horn Leeches, even with those being free. So I think that is probably the most likely Scarfer. Keldeo is another option as a Scarfer, though I think something that's a little bit more damage boosting will be more likely on that to break through something like Raging Bolt. The other Pokemon here that's new that's going to be really problematic is the Archaludon. That Pokemon is super awesome, and it was a Pokemon I was actually considering taking for my team. It does so much and has such a variety of sets. Very difficult to play around, because even if you prep for all of the scenarios, you just have to predict which one will come in. It's really hard to decipher what this Pokemon is going to want to do in this matchup. So enough talking about the matchup, let's get right into the team. So we'll start with Palafin here. Palafin is Adamant Max on both attack and speed. That allows us to outspeed Timid Glamora, which with Jet Punch is not the most important thing, but we really don't have anything else we need to do with this EV spread. So just getting that outspeed allows us to lock into Wave Crash in situations where it's relevant, or lock into Zen Headbutt where situations are relevant. We have the 3 Water Sabs because they're really good across the entire board, but Zen Headbutt's going to be really good at taking down that Keldeo specifically. I think one miss on this set could have been fighting coverage for the Archaludon over the Wave Crash, for example, and that might be a gap in this team in terms of breaking the Archaludon and kind of identifying that as a threat. Maybe a little foreshadowing on that one, just a bit, as you can probably tell by the thumbnail. But Adamant Choice Band does a lot of work against this team, opening up damage for a lot of my threats, like the Raging Bolt. As I said, Meowscarada is the fastest Pokemon in this matchup, so we get to take advantage of that by just running a jolly max attack set, a little bit of extra bulk, and just run a U-turn Flower Trick knockoff triple axle set. One of the common switch-ins is likely going to be that Mandibuzz, so having knockoff to put pressure on that Rocky Helmet potential early, and then having triple axle to scare it out later in the game is going to be super crucial. His team also doesn't really switch into this Pokemon well at all in general. He does have the Archaludon, which does switch into it well over time, but a lot of my ways to break it would probably be special attackers in Skeletorch or the Raging Bolt in his eyes. I also have the Nightshade on Bronzong to deal a little bit more damage, so the stamina might not always come into play here. Raging Bolt, as I said, is going to be our win condition in this matchup. Calm Mind, Thunderclap, Thunderbolt, Dragon Pulse. We don't really have a speed tier we need to hit with this, so we get to put all of our effort into HP and special attack to maximize our opportunity of dealing as much damage as possible in a late game sweep with Thunderclap and Thunderbolt. Bronzong here, dedicated rocker for this week. I'm not super confident in this set. This set was kind of just, it's kind of there because we need a rocker, and that was not, probably the best justification for this Pokemon, but unfortunately that's kind of what we have to go with in this matchup, and that's something that Gen 9 Draft League kind of requires you to do at times, is force you to run maybe some suboptimal Pokemon just because their roles are too crucial. We do have Reflect because that does ease some of the pressure off, switching into Ogerpon Hearthflame and Gyro Ball and Nightshade just to have some offensive pressure to not make this a sitting duck against a lot of his team. Skeledirge here is going to be really, really good at switching into a lot of his common threats like Ogerpon Hearthflame and the Yanmega. We do have Alluring Voice and Earth Power that gives us some threatening moves to attack into his common switch-ins, which could include something like the Archaludon, the Keldeo are all possibilities in this spot. And then the Earth Power just gives us a way to hit the Yanmega if it goes into the fire mode as well. Okidogi here, this set is actually going to be pretty interesting. So this set is designed as a dedicated lead to lead into two situations. It's designed to deal with lead Glimmora and live 2 Earth Powers from lead Glimmora, outspeed it and kill it with knockoff less high horsepower. It can also take the combination of Volt Switch, Rocks, 1 Rocky Helmet hit, and an Earthquake from the Mamoswine with the Shuckleberry. The reason that scenario is relevant off the lead is if he leads with something like Raikou, I'm likely to want to hit knockoff and try to pressure an incoming Mandibuzz, which I think is likely going to be Rocky Helmet in this matchup. So if I get that knocked off there, I can switch it on Rocks and then still use this as a lure in the late game for something like the Mamoswine. So that is the team for this week. I am kind of confident in it. I think this team probably could have been a little bit more optimized in certain places, but I think Raging Bolt has that takeover power in the end game that we really want to leverage, and I really like the Okidogi pressuring on kind of some key pressure points in this matchup. So enough waffling about the team, let's get right into the battle. Alright, battle time. I apologize for being very, very sick this week. I do not sound good at all. I feel okay. It's mainly just how I sound is pretty brutal. So we're playing Champion Braden this week, as I said. This is his team. Glimmora, Keldeo, Archaludon, Raikou. Oh, we didn't bring the Mamoswine. Ooh, that might be a problem for our good friend over here. He did not bring his one Raging Bolt answer, or his one truly consistent Raging Bolt answer. So that actually like makes this a little bit better, in that I can be more liberal with the damage on my on my Okidogi as a lead. I mean, so the lead is still going to be Okidogi every time. The game plan has been set up around this. It leads really good against the Raikou. He doesn't have a switch in either for the Meowscarada as well. I guess Dusknoir is going to have to put in, triple duty in this matchup realistically for him to make a lot of progress in this game, but I'm kind of okay if he's going to try to rely on that to be a defensive option for long term, because that Pokemon, while it does have really good defenses, low HP will be difficult for it to take advantage. Okay, perfect. So this is one of the expected leads that we have here. So we do have Shuckleberry. So the play here was to always knock off on turn 1 to prevent the switch in. Realistically now he actually doesn't have like a really good play into this thing. Into the high horsepower specifically, so I think I want to click that in this spot. So I think I'm going to make an adjustment there. The reason I want to knock off before is knockoff's a really good play into the Mandibuzz, and I want to be able to take advantage of this specific situation here. Why is the timer 30? Surely it should be 60, right? So I'm just going to high horsepower, and he's just going to set up his rocks perfect. So I'm going to be able to, as long as this doesn't fucking miss for whatever reason, I'm going to be able to pick up this Glimmora pretty early. It'll probably be Focus Sash. It is Focus Sash. So I am going to have to get these hazards removed at some point here, unfortunately. That just is what it is. At this point, I'm just going to go for the knockoff, because that covers any potential random switch outs if he wants to preserve this Pokemon. He is going to Memento. Okay, so he's just going to sack this thing off. I assume that is an Okidogi kill. I'm sure the BBR mods will let me know after. if that's a kill for Okie Dokie. So he's going to get an opportunity to set up here off the lead. So it'll depend on what he wants to go into. The frustrating thing right now is I can't bring Raging Bolt in if he wants to go into Raikou. The reason that's frustrating is I don't have heavy duty boots. I have leftovers there, so I'd have to take a poison to get in on that Pokemon. But turn 2, first kill of the season. He's going to bring in Sub Keldeo probably is what I'm fully expecting here. In this spot is us to see a substitute Keldeo. That is kind of problematic because this would be a really good opportunity to get my Raging Bolt in. And not that I wasn't playing into Memento, but I guess I was kind of expecting a scenario where that didn't come into play. So this specific spot I'm not super prepared for. The question is how do I want to approach it now? I can get really aggressive into my Meowscarada. I can still just go into the Raging Bolt. The problem is Raging Bolt is so good in this specific spot, and I don't really have good ways to pressure it otherwise. Meowscarada is a good check to a lot of his team, but I think I can afford to be aggressive on this specific turn. I think there is like a decent chance he Sacred Swords here, but I think there's a pretty good chance he sets up a substitute here to take advantage of the Memento or tries to Calm Mind. He goes for the Hydro Pump here. That is certainly choice specs. That is a lot of damage on Keldeo. That does about did about what, like 100, like 204? No, that didn't do 204. That did like 185, 186. So this is a low roll for choice spec. So that's actually good to know that this is choice specs then, because this does give us a free click here. I can U-turn here. I can go for the I could knock off to actually lose this thing's choice specs. That actually might be productive. Use of return here. I don't think he can take a flower trick here. I don't think he's going to want to. I think that would be kind of nonsensical for him to stay in. Yeah, he is going to withdraw. Perfect. Okay, so we know this is choice specs Hydro. And he's going to go into Dusknoir. Perfect. So he's going to get the boots. I'm going to get my Protean boost off, and I'm going to get this thing knocked off. So that is going to do a shit ton of damage. And it's going to reveal the Rocky Helmet. So let's see. The knockoff, that is pretty defensive. So if I assume, do I have rolls to kill this? Not really. I have high rolls that kill this, but like that wouldn't be productive to risk a high roll at this point. So I'm just going to U-turn off of this. Put in the rest of the damage that I need here. Now, there could be an opportunity. I guess I should have calced knockoff no item. Knockoff no item actually might have had a chance to kill there. Question here is what I want to go into. I can go into Palafin. Could be a decent opportunity here. I don't really think so. I can go into Okie Dokie, and that gets a Toxic Spike away, which would actually be pretty crucial in this spot. I really think something like a Pain Split is probably coming. I'm already taking so much time here. I don't know why I even could Leech Life too. I'm just gonna go into. I could go into Palafin. Man, I don't like a lot of my options here in this specific spot. There's no way he Willowed, right? He probably Leech Lifed, so I'm just gonna go into Palafin here. I've been able to get a lot of like really good predictions here early. Now I am gonna have to take this thing poisoned, which is a little bit unfortunate. I should have gone Okie Dokie, I think, earlier. So I can't actually, I do prevent the burn, and he's going to Nightshade. Okay. So I'm going to take a little bit of damage, and I am at the point now where this thing is kind of going to be relegated to the point of being a late game cleaner, which is pretty fine. Honestly, I don't need it to accomplish much more in this matchup besides that at this point. The Raging Bolt does like a really fabulous job of actually winning me this game now, especially where we know he's choice spec. We know that he's choice specs, Keldeo. So that's huge news, because that's one of the things I can take advantage of my Pokemon. So the poison spikes, the toxic spikes are gone. He's going to get the Willow play here, correct. So that's good for him. But once again, this Pokemon becomes a little bit more expendable now that I don't really need it to do what it was brought to do. It's accomplished the Glimmora. It doesn't have Mamoswine to lure, so I can just kind of get aggressive. Here, question is do I want to change up the move? Do I just knock off? I can protect against an aggressive move into the Keldeo. I'm just going to knock off. If he tries to get really aggro into Keldeo, he's just going to Shadow Sneak to get more damage. That makes perfect sense. Let's see how Choice Specs Keldeo does here. I think we're probably in an angle where we're sacking off Okie Dokie, unfortunately, early. So Okie Dokie picks up 2 kills early on in the season, so good Good start for Okie Dokie here to start the season. Yeah, this Hydra does a fucking butt ton. I guess he just surfs too. So we prioritize getting off the... He brings in Raikou, which is interesting. Okay. Emerald Goat. Gen 3 hero. So Thunderbolt could be substitute. Do have to be burned on this. So knockoff is not going to break the substitute. I could close combat just to push damage on this thing. Pushing damage on this thing I think seems to be pretty important here. High horsepower does a little bit more, but it has a chance to miss. So I'm just going to click close combat here. And he is going to Volt Switch, and he actually does not have... Oh, that does a lot. How much did that do? That did about... Is that just going to be Timid 252? That might be Timid 252. Now he gets to switch into a close combat, and... I mean, I am burned, but this Keldeo is still going to have to take this close combat, which is going to put it into a pretty precarious spot. That should surely put this thing in range from Meowscarada at this point. Meowscarada also does a really good job now of cleaning up a lot of this game. I mean, it was always in range of Meowscarada. I'm just going to sack this thing off now. It's done its job. I'm going to go for the knockoff in case he gives me something for free. He does not. And now Okie Dokie goes down to the Specs Keldeo. So we know this is pretty standard Specs Keldeo. Pretty standard Okie Dokie. Now, I think I do Flower Trick here. Is there a reason to get like super aggressive and click something else? It could be Choice Scarf Raikou, but he has to switch something in. He has to like sack something to get that in. So I think what I'm just going to do is Flower Trick. I've gotten aggressive every time I've had an opportunity to this game, and this is the first time I really don't have to. So that was a potential opportunity for him to misplay into that. And I could have knocked off on this Archaludon, like, certainly, but, like, getting a Flower Trick off, I don't think this is going to be a Rocky Helmet. He's already revealed a Rocky Helmet user on this team. Now, that doesn't do basically anything. So let's see. He does reveal to be Stamina, which is fine. I do have the Skeledirge, which, with Earth Power, is going to do a lot of damage. To this thing, and then I can, check this thing after. I do have to make sure to not attack it. I do have the Bronzong, which can also Nightshade this thing down. Let's see, what do I want to go into here? Probably just Skeledirge. Skeledirge is the safest option I have here. I don't think he's going to do anything potentially ridiculous. He could be Iron Defense, Body Press, but then Body Press gets walled by Skeledirge, so I don't expect that to happen. That would be one of his more threatening sets. He has Dragon Pulse here. I should be able to take that pretty well. Well, okay, not the best. We've taken hits a little bit better, certainly. But we are going to get to live 2. Now, where I'm at 12, I probably should have crept this, actually. Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate that I didn't have this creeped. Because I do kind of need this for Ogerpon. The problem is like, we're getting really into the range where this guy can just win the game. The question is do I just slack off? I'm just going to slack off the first time. He's going to Dark Pulse. That should be... Alright. That's unfortunate. Should have probably calced that. The Dark Pulse into the Dragon Pulse. Okay. That I probably should have just... I could have sacked the Meowscarada, but I still think I need that for something else here. Dark Pulse is doing a decent amount to Bronzong, but I can just bring that in and start Nightshading. I think that might be my best bet at this point. Man. I don't like the position I put myself into at this point. Really, really not happy with where this game has ended up as a result of some of this gameplay. If he does have sub, I mean, this does break the sub, which is fine. Wow, he's going to switch. Okay, that's actually huge. He's going to send out Ogerpon. Well, okay. I mean, we got off the hook a little bit there. ID Cudgel doesn't actually kill this, which is like kind of surprising, to be honest. We're getting into range now. Is Raging Bolt... Raging Bolt's getting to the point where it can maybe actually just win this game, potentially. Still. I mean, I'm just going to Nightshade. I have to put more damage on this as much as possible. That knockup is perfectly fine. And I put this... I think surely this is now in range of Meowscarada Triple Axle. Yeah, it certainly is at this point. I can even knock off on the Archaludon. Yeah, I'm putting a lot of faith into... And I can triple axle the Archaludon, and I think be okay with that because I have Thunderclap. So I'm just going to Nightshade, see what he elects to do here. He's just going to Ivy Cudgel. Okay. Alright, we're okay with this so far. This game is getting a little bit dicey now. Well, I have the Meowscarada. I'm just going to go into it. I have the triple axle here, I think. Triple axle, I mean, with stamina, that's kind of a frustrating aspect of that too, I guess. I mean, if I go for the knockoff, the problem is Raging Bolt is taking... It's taking a lot here. I'm just going to knock here. I think it's kind of a passive move. But it does kill the Ogerpon. No, it doesn't, really. That doesn't kill Ogerpon? Did I miss... Did I make a really evident miscalc here? Did I... I mean, yeah, he must have a lot more bulk than I expected. I should have triple axled there, I guess. I can go into this and Thunderclap. I mean, Thunderclap has to kill from this point. Like, assuredly, there's no other option from that. The problem is that I'm relying on Jet Punch to kill the Raikou. Because then if I bring Palafin, he brings out the Archaludon and then probably just farms up stamina boost. Well, I'm going to bring in this. I can't really Calm Mind up. So he... Question is... Yeah, this just did not work out. I mean, I'm not taking a lot from either of these hits. The problem is the other thing comes in, and it's like a real problem. Does he ever switch into the other thing here? So if I Thunderclap, he stays in. I don't kill the Raikou. I probably have a decent chance of killing the Raikou. I mean, surely he stays in and attacks, right? Or does he switch? Do I have to predict the switch here? I can guarantee the differential either way. I'm going to Thunderclap. I think it's kind of a bitch move. Okay. That's fine. I think that was kind of... I maybe could have done something maybe a little bit more optimal in that spot. I do say my leftovers, which is nice. But this Archaludon is now like still a problem. I probably should have put speed in to hit the Archaludon on this. Yeah, I could have had enough speed to get this, because now... I mean, if he's special, I don't really have a chance to 2-hit KO. This is the problem. I can Calm Mind up. The Dragon Pulses are doing a lot, though. Yeah, this was just, I think, a poorly positioned endgame by me. I don't really know how I can get out of this. I guess I have to Dragon Pulse and see what happens. It's Draco. Well, I guess that's one way. Alright, well, that's one way I got out of this. Is if he misses a fucking Draco Meteor. Oh my god, that didn't do nearly as much damage as it should have. Alright, well, let's see what Draco Meteor does. Am I getting out of jail for free on this one? Are we getting out of jail? I mean, Eevee's max. If he's invested, I mean, this kills. Like, there's not kind of any two ways about this. There's no reason to Thunderclap, right? Like, if I live... I mean, if I don't live, I mean, surely Palafin can't kill with Jet Punch, like, from any range. So I kind of have to Dragon Pulse again. Alright, miss times 2. Alright, he hits. Let's see what set he is. Yeah, he's just gonna kill. Damn. Oh, that's unfortunate. I think I would have to look back. I think my build was a little bit unoptimized for Archaludon. And maybe I could have played around it better by saving Okidogi and being a little bit more liberal with my Bronzong. But I mean, at this point, there's not really much that I can do. I guess I can go for Zen Headbutt flinches to pull back a differential point. I guess that's the option that I've left myself with. At this point, though, obviously that's not going to be, super relevant in the end game. So we do lose, I think, a pretty unfortunate game. A game I was kind of confident going in that Raging Bull had a really good matchup into. If I had... The thing is, I don't even think I kill your Archaludon on the second Dragon Pulse, so I would have had to outspeed, and then, I could have taken advantage of that miss maybe, but Archaludon pulls it out for Brayden, and we lose a game 3-0. Unfortunate loss to start the season. So that is week 1 in the books. Next week we are taking on Gentleman Thomas. Super excited for that game as well. Hopefully it goes just a little bit better. I think I was a little bit underprepared for the Archaludon in the specific spot, and it kind of showed in the late game. I didn't really have a good way to break it, and I think Brayden played a good way to basically get to that end game. So unfortunate loss. We'll get him back next week against Gentleman Thomas. Super excited for that one. Make sure you're subscribed if you have not already so you don't miss that battle. And I'll see you all later, and have a wonderful day.